worked together on the Pink Panther movies, and when we'd finished there was really nothing going on. And I'd had an idea for some time about doing a small budget sci-fi project, you know, sort of a horror sci-fi. And we went to see the head of the studios at that time, and we said, you know, what would be the chances of, you know, continuing on using the offices that we'd been working out of, and you know, making a little investment into a horror movie. We didn't have a script or anything at that point. And Graham, his name was, said, yeah, you know, that would be interesting. We've got nothing coming in. Why don't you, you know, come back, and when you've got the rest of it put together, we'll, you know, we'll work out a deal. So we got a character called Max Cuff to write the script, and we all sat down and worked out how it best would be done, at which time Norman came on board. And the difficulty was getting equipment, getting everybody to work for practically nothing. We even had a clapper boy called Danny Shelmerdine, who was able to get a whole batch of short ends. So the movie was shot on different batches of short ends, and everybody said, well, you can't do that, you can't shoot on different batches. Well, we did, and it came out perfectly well. So once we got the script, we started looking around for actors, people who would come on and do it for a minimal amount of money. And it took us, you know, about 6 or 8 weeks to set it up, but we did that. That's how we did it. At Shepperton Studios, the reason we were there was because we just finished doing a Panther there, Pink Panther, and there were offices, and we thought, well, we can just carry on using them. There were some very good interiors there that we could use. There's a building at Shepperton called the Old House, and inside there were some fantastic sets that were standing, you know, so we took full use of those and turned the back of Shepperton Studios into the house that the two women lived in, and we used the interior of the old house to do all the sets. There was also a fantastic little river that ran down the bottom of the back lot, and we were able to do quite a bit of shooting there. So that, you know, we had no money for transport, we had no money to take people out and go and, you know, shoot on location. It all had to be done there. That is true. But it was coming. I mean, you know, by this time Norman was on board and was able to put a lot of input into it. But yes, you know, the pages were coming as we were shooting. But, you know, yeah, you've got to do what you got to do. There was that little time period there where we could achieve, you know, this movie with a very small amount of money, where people were prepared to put their time into it. You know, very shortly afterwards, a few projects started to appear and people would disappear onto them. So we really had to get it done in that time.
Oh, thank God. Thought... What happened? What was it?
First of all, why did we choose Norman as director? Well, he's the expert at horror, isn't he? He's in my opinion, one of the best horror directors we've ever produced out this country, and should be recognised for it. If you look at his catalogue of films, we were lucky to get him. Crew, they'd all worked with me. I was the first assistant for a long time, did a lot of big pictures and had a very good reputation, and people were happy to come in their free time, as it were, and work with us. We were extremely lucky. We got the very, very best, and Norman got the best out of them. There's the scene where Barry eats Gloria Annan, was shot at Shepperton Studios in the old house. Okay, very gory scene. We were lucky to have an extremely good makeup man on board, a man called Harry Frampton, who's probably one of the great makeup men of the British film industry. And he managed to produce, you know, a fairly good animal-like face on Barry Stokes. And there was plenty of blood, and I think in one scene there was a row of sausages came up. That's a bit of fun. My main memories are that, you know, it was an incredible thing to have done at that particular time in the industry. You know, to shoot a full-length feature in 10 days, that takes some hell of a doing. So I take my hat off to Norman, but I think again he was supported by an extremely good crew. And if you've got people who know what they're doing, you can really, you know, cut it down to the minimum. And of course, being on one location and being in one area, that helped a great deal. Yeah. So I've got fond memories of it. I wish I could do it today, but you can't do it anymore. The idea was at the end, there was a lot of discussion about a remake, okay? Obviously, we wanted to see how well the first one did, and we immediately got a distributor who wanted to take it, and that's a long story, I won't go into it, but it did extremely well, and they said, is there a potential sequence? And, excuse me, and I said, yes, there was. The whole idea was once the Barry Stokes character had flown back off, then a whole invasion was going to come, and the Earth was going to be attacked by this, gigantic fleet of ships, and we were going to literally be a hunted race of human beings, and they were going to cart us all off for food. Much bigger, ambitious project, but you always think to yourself, well, if the first one does well, who knows? We could do a second one. I think there was a story outline for it. Probably got it somewhere. But it never happened. The only thing I can say about the movie was that it went extremely well. And that's what you always hope when you're doing a small budget production and we've got no money, literally no money. You've just got to hope that nothing goes wrong. And we all know that when you're making movies, things go wrong. Actors don't turn up on time. In this particular instance, he had 10 days to shoot this. Everybody had to be absolutely on board, get everything done. People had to turn up on time. It really was a remarkable piece of work, and I think out of everybody, Norman, deserves as many praises as I can give him. It was brilliant. That's it.